Now, what do we mean by the term full recovery? So, if you're currently trying to overcome struggles with food, disordered eating, eating disorders, if you're like me and I struggled with an eating disorder for over 10 years, my main aim was to be free from those issues for good. So, full recovery, completely recovered from those struggles. However, the way that we define full recovery can actually have a really big impact on our progress and our journey to get there. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, because there's so many different definitions of full recovery. So on one side of the coin, many approaches define this by behavior. So they think that if you can change your eating habits, eat differently, eat healthier, eat more regularly, eat normally, okay, you're fine. However, from somebody who has done that and has fixed their nutrition, that doesn't fix what's going on under the surface, does it? You still can have those negative thoughts, the constant food obsession, all those unwanted emotions, holding old beliefs about yourself, and kind of having a real identity crisis. All of that is still going on under the surface, despite having fixed those behaviors. So that's kind of one side of the coin. However, the other side, and many traditional approaches kind of they kind of put it out there that you need to fix everything in order to recover. So I'm talking about finding your purpose, knowing who you are, figuring out what your passions, fixing your perfectionism, rebuilding your relationships. And that is overwhelming. And when I first started my recovery, I looked at that definition and felt totally overwhelmed. And it actually led me to wanting to not do anything at all. It was too much. And that was a hell of a lot of pressure. I felt this huge amount of pressure to be able to fix everything in my life in order to recover. So I was kind of stuck between these two places. And coming out the other side of it, what I've actually learned is that your recovery, full recovery, can mean whatever you want it to mean. And this is really important to actually know what your own definition of recovery is. And for me, what I've realized is that I am fully recovered from my eating disorder. However, I still have days where I get anxious. I still have days where I don't like my body and I put on a big baggy jumper and just get on with my day. I still have days where I struggle with perfectionism. I still have days where I kind of doubt myself, and I have those moments of what am I doing? What am I here for? What am I passionate about? And yet I'm fully recovered. And it's an interesting thing to think about, is that despite all of these struggles still going on, my eating disorder is not a part of my life anymore. And what I found is that many of those things, which is included in a traditional recovery definition, these can have very little to do with food itself. And I like to think of all those things more as life problems rather than eating problems. So if you think about people who are not struggling with food, who have not had disordered eating or an eating disorder, they still have many of these problems. They still have anxiety. They still have bad body image days. They still struggle with with finding out who they are and what they're passionate about. And actually, when you're going through food issues, we kind of clump all of those issues into the food pot, where actually it doesn't have to be that way. And what I've realized is that I have all these life problems still, but the difference is now I no longer even consider going back to my eating disorder ways. It's not even an option. I've built a much clearer understanding of who I am, my mind, and I've built all of these tools to be able to deal with these life problems without needing food. And that's the difference. And it's really important to actually think about, what do I want full recovery to look like? And for some people, they may go down routes such as intuitive eating, health at every size, body positivity. And others, like myself, that didn't quite resonate with me. And I realized that I still want to be recovered, and I still want to eat healthy. I still want to exercise. I still want to look fit and be strong and lift weights and go for a run. That was my definition of full recovery. But there's another, even another flip side of the coin where we kind of have these expectations to be able to love ourselves all the time, intuitively eat all the time, be okay with who we are, and actually love and accept our bodies at any size. And for some people, that absolutely works, but for others, it doesn't. And that's okay. That's what the message I want to get across to you is that if that doesn't resonate with you, it's important to find out what does. Because if you're constantly trying to strive for something that you feel you should be striving for, you're going to fall short, and it's going to be a really difficult, stressful journey to get there. And that's what I realized. I was always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, trying to strive for something which, in my opinion, felt totally unachievable, completely overwhelmed me, and didn't really resonate with what I wanted for my life. And this is the thing, it's your recovery, your way. You can pick aspects from all of these different things, which are great, but actually figure out what works for you and understand that you can still be recovered. You can still be free from these struggles and still have those anxious days and still have those body image days and still not quite know what you want to do. And that is okay. All of those things will continue way beyond recovering your food issues. They're a big part of that recovery process, but they don't need to be resolved. And I don't think they're ever resolved truly in life. If we think about people who don't struggle with food, these things are an ongoing process, ongoing work that you do with yourself. So ask yourself that question. What does full recovery mean to me? And what do I want it to look like? What resonates with me and what sits well with me? I would really like to know. So comment and let me know what that definition means to you. You're unique, so are your problems, and so is your recovery. So have a go and let me know.